Yo, what's up guys? Bajheera here. Back at it again with another update for our Path of Exile 2 Smith of Kitava Warrior, and this is a big one. We have been having a lot of fun with this game. We have been having a great time sharing the updates with you guys along the way, and I think that we have reached a point that is approaching final form for this build. But of course, you know how it is. I'm going to continue to mess with stuff. We're going to continue to get upgrades. We're going to continue to mess with our skill points and stuff. But one of the reasons why I call it final form is because we have acquired ourselves a pretty juicy weapon that requires 636 strength, which is the top end of the amount of strength you're going to need for equipping a weapon. And that means that I had to change my tree up a little bit to finally go down and around through polymathy in order to equip the bad boy. But it also allows me to get the attack speed that I was looking forward to getting. I just didn't really need to go down there yet, and I didn't want to give up the damage that I had on the tree that sort of made up for it. But now we're able to do some cool things with some talents that we weren't really close to yet. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is gonna be a quick video though, boys. It's gonna be a quick one. I say that, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try to go through it a little bit more quickly. For our passive skills, you know what? First things first. Let me show you the hammer, okay? Because I'm talking about the weapon. Or should we wait? Maybe I'll keep that in suspense. Keep it a surprise. Let's actually start here. We are doing our normal ascendancy, still going for fire resistance, modifiers of fire res grant cold and lightning, more fire res, modifiers of max fire resist grant cold and lightning resist. That's craziness. That's how we solve our resists on Smith of Kitava. That's one of the coolest things about this, is a lot of builds you got to figure out how to get your resists and how to get your stats. And Smith of Kitava pretty much solves that for you just through its ascendancy. And what I mean by the stats part is that you're able to get 20% increased strength. We're also buffing up our life. We are using +5 max fire resistance, and we're using 25% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage, with the trade-off that we can only use a normal body armor. But you can still do some cool stuff with it. You can get one that regens life. You can corrupt this and have it give you +5 +5 max physical resistance, or additional physical resistance, which is really sweet. And then you can also get things like another socket, things like that. So I don't have that yet on my armor, but that's what I'm talking about. And the reason I went for a plus max life, if you play blood magic or something like that, you might want to go for the regen. But I figure if I can take the hit, usually we can survive it. So I'm just having max life for right now. In the talent tree, for now, I'm still keeping the increased melee damage over the top. If I wanted to save 1 point and get a little bit more strength, we could absolutely go this route. Coming down here. Then we're going across, getting more damage, just melee damage and more damage against stun enemies. Well, I shouldn't say more, it's increased, which is a different sort of thing. It's technically more damage, but it's not the same modifier. But anyway, we are grabbing some skill speed. I love to be able to attack fast, that's important. A tiny bit of skill cost converted to life cost is okay for mana instead of that. Now we're going over here to grab some of this stuff. I'm looking at this, I'm like, do I need to do something different? But no, it's fine. Because we are grabbing both of these right now. Increased armor with armor contributes to stun threshold a little bit. Come down here, grabbing all the two-handed weapon damage nodes, and then for my mapping build, we are going with a little bit of extra AoE if you stun an enemy recently. But you'll notice we removed a lot of this stuff from the tree. We did. How many points is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we could find 8 points, we can maybe go back to this attack speed, but for now we gotta do something a little bit different. Gotta keep the damage up, basically. But for this, we are also grabbing the strength on the tree again. We want this strength. It helps out a lot because we need a lot of strength right now. Coming over here with our normal jewel socket, grabbing strength and stun threshold with more strength and max life is lovely. Still going with resolute technique. I actually am still grabbing this stuff too. For my mapping build, we are doing AoE. Well, I'm saying mapping build now, but for my not weapon set 2, weapon set 1 is what I'm mostly spending my time in. We're still doing AoE, and we are still doing stun build up with AoE damage. We're coming down here. So this is a brief aside. Is I am going to experiment with what boss damage feels like without some of this shout stuff. I do think that the Warcry empowerment damage loss could be a problem. but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to tell you why and what it gives us, okay? But one thing that's on my mind right now is, this is a significant damage loss. It could be a problem. We will see. But I'm going to show you what I'm thinking right now. The main thing I want to show you is how all this stuff works down here, because this is different. So we have the empowerment damage, chance to bleed, with chance to aggravate, with empowered attacks, and empowered attacks deal more damage. I'm hoping that the new weapon props up some of the damage loss so that we can afford to invest in some of the utility that we're doing, basically. But if that's not the case, then we can move some of the defensive stuff into offense again, and that's cool. But basically the idea is I got a new weapon that keeps my damage the same, even if I take points out of the damage skill point thing, and that means I can move those points into utility and defense. Is kind of the idea. But if we have gone too far on the utility and defense, I'm likely going to shift points out of defense back into damage, primarily through the Warcry stuff. That's kind of what I'm thinking. For this, we are always taking the extra damage and stun buildup for boss, like for the big one-shot combo, which is now just our Hammer of the Gods set. Spoiler alert. We are going into the ailment stuff because we are doing big damage with Hammer of the God Bleed. That's kind of our big hit. We're building up stun with Earth Shatter, and then dropping a big daddy hammer with two two-handers now. So, again, finding the big daddy hammer, in addition to finding another piece of gear yesterday, is pretty cool. I'll talk you through that maybe when we get to the gear section, because yesterday was a big day. It was awesome. All right, so we had some damage with maces, aftershocks, more damage with maces, and more damage against heavy stun enemies with maces. So that's a big deal. We are going through the strength, reduced mana costs, reduced max mana, not mana costs. But we're also getting more damage per strength, which is cool because we just got even more strength. Giant's Blood, this is the big one. This is what's letting us use two-hander in one hand, but it triples their stat requirements, which is just strength for maces, which is fine because we can get a lot of strength. Getting some max resist. This is huge. +5 to all resistance is great, but the main thing is you get 1 max fire res for each 40% uncapped fire res. So that's 1% all res because of Smith of Kitava. So whatever this little number is on your resistance. If I got this to 160% fire res, I would get 1 extra max fire res, which would put me at 90, which I want to do. I want that. This is good. This is fire resistance, but also it's taking less physical damage because of our other little thing we put on our Ascendancy, right? This little guy. Very good. So we're coming down here for the Jewel Socket. So this is all new down here, right? We used to be chilling up here. All of this stuff was really nice. We're getting it. This is a great little area. We're getting a lot of attack speed, a lot of damage, and getting enough bleed to make it work, right? Now we're coming back down here, and I'm doing something a little bit weird here. This is I'm not so sure about. This is the defensive part that may be unnecessary. Okay, so keep that in mind. I also put a teeny little point in armor here for my weapon set 1. We'll see. This is a sign that I need to maybe retool some stuff. I might need to shave points off of here. I need to level up, and then if I do that, I will get a point from leveling up. I'll get a point from moving damage out of melee into strength, and then I can put point here and get like a little bit of life recoup from all the armor that we have, which is kind of a lot now. This right here, this might get moved into something else, but this little 4-point situation right here gives me like 5% of estimated physical damage reduction, and if I got gloves with more armor on them, which we could do eventually, then that means we'll get, you know, even more basically. Because how this works is your gloves, in addition to giving you just more armor and evasion, your gloves will give you 1 evasion rating per armor on equipped gloves, and then you just go here and convert all evasion rating to armor, which will basically just give you double armor on your gloves, which is pretty cool, right? So one of the things that I wanted to do, and I was talking to you guys about, is I felt a little bit squishy to physical damage. Now we don't feel so squishy to physical damage. We're running around when we're stacked up fully with scavenged plating. We got about 89% physical damage reduction estimated, which feels much better. And so if we are doing a little bit less damage to bosses, but we are like not afraid of anything the boss does to us, I think that's like a good place to be, right? To be able to like one-shot the boss but die is kind of not as good. The thing about this situation though is that Arbiter doesn't care about your defenses, right? You either dodge his mechanics and don't die, or you fail the mechanic and do die. So against Arbiter, it may be better to spec into more damage, so keep that in mind. But this little thing right here is like one of those things where I'm like, the defense sounds cool, but if I don't need it, we'll go back into some sort of Warcry stuff, right? And that could be fine too. But anyway, I actually don't think I need the extra empowered war tech. Maybe I'm not thinking correctly, but the only thing I really need to hit that hard is Hammer of the Gods anyway. So that's why I'm thinking this, but it is kind of a bummer to lose all this extra empowered Warcry stuff, right? This is like 60% here and then 60% here, right? And it's like, or 45% here. It's not 45, but 48. And it's like, I'm losing 100% increased damage on Warcries. That might be a problem, but we will see. Anyway, I'm coming down here for mapping. We are just grabbing a little bit more AoE and AoE damage, which is fine. That's just kind of fun. Actually, I think it's only AoE, not even damage. Yeah, it's just AoE, which is just still, I like AoE. And then we're going here. This is a big deal. We're grabbing some attributes all the way down into polymathy, which helps us have a whopping 650 strength or 660 strength, depending on which weapon set I'm in. Either way, we are chilling, right? We are chilling with enough strength with that weapon out, no problem. If you still don't have enough strength, you can start grabbing some of these nodes, which bring down the required attribute for gems and skills and equipment and stuff a lot. So if you have a 636 weapon and you still don't have enough strength after getting strength on the tree and starting to get strength on your gear, then you can sort of stopgap with these talents right there, and that's nice. So now we need to get bleed. Well, let's talk about this. We also get attack speed, which I'm very excited about. I love attack speed, and I can get this attack speed now. What I would love to do is be able to get this attack speed as well, but that is going to require me to shave a lot of armor off, and I'm not sure I'm ready to do that. But we will see. If I'm like super tank, then we can start taking armor out of this build, taking armor away, and then I'll sneak back over into here for more attack speed. We'll see. We'll see. But so I am using my normal talent tree to go up here because you kind of have to. I need the strength, and you cannot take notables like this thing. I think this is called like a key pass, like a keystone. You can't take keystone passives or gem slots in a weapon set. So you had to at least come up to here, but then I also needed the strength. So I just grabbed these with my normal set. And then if we wanted to, we could do some surrounded stuff for mapping, which would be awesome because these are crazy. They do require you to have like 5 mobs within 3 meters of you, but still, like that's big armor, big damage, big attack speed. Could be a lot of fun. But anyway, we'll see. So here's where we're getting our bleed, right? So we get bleed chance here, 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 and here. And we get bleed chance here, here, not here. But we do have it on the jewels too. So I have 7% bleed chance, I think, on all of the jewels. Yeah, so I have 7% bleed chance on all the jewels with rage on hit on 2 of them. This jewel is really bad. We could get a new one, but at least gives me bleed and rage, so it's like whatever. This one is like okay. It's rage when hit, chance to inflict bleed, AoE, stun threshold is whatever. This one is block chance, which is cool. Rage is cool. Chance to inflict bleed is cool. Stun threshold is whatever. Totem placement is literally useless, but I think it just corrupted it on there, so okay. And then we go over here for the bleed. We are grabbing, I think I actually wanted not do this one. Is that correct? Do we want this one? I was thinking something last night, and I was thinking, I'm not sure if we wanted this one. I think it's fine. I want to aggravate, but whatever. We could put our next point here. Anyway, we are grabbing bleed chance, which puts us in our Hammer of the Gods swing and set at exactly 105% chance to bleed. So we could, if we wanted to, remove like one of these nodes, I guess, right? For an exact 100% chance to bleed. And maybe I will. I'll talk to Doriani about that. Hey, Doriani.
You speak.
We don't need this. Want to give me this? There. Now we can bleed a little faster. Or we can find somewhere to do damage, or we could use this point somewhere else. But now we have an exact 100% chance to bleed, which is all we need. So it's a little bit more efficient, because going up here, we had like 117% chance to bleed, and we don't need that. We just need 100. So we will aggravate the bleed, which makes it do like double damage, just by having a chance to do that on hit. I also have a guaranteed aggravate as long as I basic attack during a stun. I just want to make sure that it works that way. If we don't need aggravate, then I will put this point somewhere else. We will do like some other kind of damage, and I'll figure that out. But there is some room for kind of tinkering, but I want to give you guys the basic idea. Like if you don't have the jewels or whatever, right? But that's awesome that it's exact 100% chance. It also gives me some magnitude of bleeding and duration of bleeding. So our Hammer of the Gods bleed lasts for what? 8.65 seconds is what it says. But I think it's doing that because it's dealing damage faster. So it's a longer bleed and then it deals it faster. So it's less like it's a bigger bleed, basically. You stretch it out, then you compress it. But that's how that works. And then we are grabbing a little bit more like magnitude of bleeding here as well, with a little bit of attack damage. So that's the setup right there, basically, is how this is looking for our talents. Okay. The skills themselves
I have a different plan.
Have expanded as well. I found 2 perfect jeweler's orbs yesterday. 2 perfect jeweler's orbs, 2 divines, and we found a weapon that we sold for 12 divine, which is what basically financed our whole situation here. We gotta blast through these though, boys. We gotta blast through it because we got a lot to talk about and not much time. But for Mace Strike, I'm just kind of using it as like a little dinky attack that gives me some utility. One of the big pieces of utility, and one of the things that means that we may not need to take any sort of aggravate on the tree in that little bleed triangle, is this. So if we can stun the boss long enough, the Hammer of the Gods drops down basically, right? Boom. Stuns the boss, or sorry, hits the boss while he's stunned. If I can get 1 auto attack off after that thing hits, then it will aggravate the bleed, right? As long as it's still stunned when I hit him, bink, the bleed gets aggravated, guaranteed, which is awesome. No messing around. So that's what I want to do. I just want to make sure that I actually stun the boss long enough to do it, but I'm pretty sure we will. And if that's the case, then I'm going to move those talent points around, right? So we have it leeching a little bit of mana. As long as we have mana, we can get life back too, right? Because if I have mana, I can attack and I'll life leech, and I have life leech anyway. So I feel like mana leech is maybe more important if you're like down to the wire against the boss, you know. That's the kind of what I have in mind here. Everything is on the line, no potions, no nothing. If you can at least auto attack and get mana, then you can use other skills and get life, right? And then we have Maim. This is, I don't think we need Maim against the boss, but it's just kind of funny against those rogue exiles. Just whack him one time. It's like you hamstring him in WoW. Just beat him up. You could put something else there if you wanted to. Like close combat would be fine to do more damage. So that's fine. They have Culling Strike. So when mobs are low, you whack them and it culls them. And then if you're doing it against rares, then you can behead them and take their mods. Like you get like 1 buff. So sometimes you run around with like a temporal bubble around you, or you can corpse explode and stuff. It's just kind of fun. Something cool to have on there. Leap Slam, we have it supported with Overpower. Against big bosses, I will move Overpower into Earth Shatter though. But we have Brink, which means that they cannot be heavy stunned, but they'll just get really, really primed for stun, which is nice. And I'm using a level 7 Leap Slam to keep the mana cost down and to keep the damage down so that we're not accidentally killing mobs with Leap Slam. It just primes them for stun so we can cleanly bone shatter them out of existence. I have attack speed on this one. I have rage on this one for maps. My rage generation isn't great. This helps. But against bosses, I'll probably just do Holy Descent so that I get that little heal on the ground. And if I had a 6-slot Leech Slam, which we may eventually have, if I keep dropping 2 perfect Jeweler's Orbs a day, then we might. I'll probably put Holy Descent on there. Earth Shatter, right now I have it with Aftershock. I have it with Splinter, so it breaks armor. I have it with Upheaval, which is mandatory. I just only have Upheaval in the 3rd slot, so it's easier to do this when I'm fighting bosses. I have it with Reverberate, so it's getting like super Aftershock chance. So that's big damage. And then we have it with Cadence, so that the more times I swing, the faster attack speed it gets, which is kind of cool. You can always just have it doing more damage. I'm just experimenting with Cadence. But that feels pretty good. Another really good one to think about is Font of Rage, so that it generates rage for you when your spikes are down. So like if the boss is sitting there doing all its RP, you're just sitting here stacking spikes. The fight starts with 30 rage. Pretty good option. Pretty good option. So I'm back on Shield Charge now. I like Stampede a lot, but Shield Charge is kind of like working for me. Another thing I need to mention about Shield Charge, it does so much freaking stun build up on bosses, it's insane. So this is something that you need to consider for that. Because the big thing for this build is like you have to stun the boss. Once the boss is stunned, big old Hammer of the Gods bleed. That's like your main combo. This is very nice to have. So I actually have Second Wind on this one, so you can use it twice. I don't feel like it's that long of a cooldown anyway, so it's fine. I have it with Stomping Ground, so you do little AoEs pulsing that's based off your strength damage. Momentum, so that once you charge a little bit of a distance, it's going to do more damage. And then I have Heavy Swing. It reduces the attack speed, but you barely notice it because it's such a fast attack anyway, right? And make it do more damage, so it helps with stun build up. Hammer of the Gods, baby. Here we go. Rage Forged. You're consuming rage to do more damage. Hourglass adds 10 seconds to the cooldown, So it does put a 10-second cooldown on the ability, and sometimes against like map bosses, you can stun the boss 2 times within 10 seconds, and it's kind of on cooldown, which is awkward. But against a pinnacle boss, not usually going to be the case that you're stunning more than once every 10 seconds. If that continues to be a problem, we'll just do something else like heavy swing, right? That's no problem. Exploit weakness. I'm consuming fully broken armor, which we are breaking armor definitely with Splinter on Earth Shatter. And I'm causing it to have a 50% chance to inflict bleeding, which helps, you know, get it all the way to 100%. And now we're using this one, which is interesting. This is why one of the reasons why the bleed duration is so long. So it increases the bleed duration by 50% at the cost of giving the freaking boss attack speed and movement speed. So this is an interesting one to mention. Another thing that you could do is other stuff like you can do the magnitude of bleed one, or you could do just a harder hit one, and that would be fine as well. But a long duration bleed is kind of cool. And I'm experimenting with that, and we're going to see how that goes. But again, we might not want to give the boss 15% attack speed, movement speed. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, that deep cuts is still a thing. But I still like the hit damage. Is deep cuts even a thing still? Yeah, deep cuts still a thing. So it is 75% more magnitude of bleed, but it brings down the hit damage, and I'm not really a big fan of bringing down the hit damage. So right now we're seeing red, and we're gonna see how that goes. Makes it a long bleed. We got Bone Shatter, our lovely Impact Shockwave still, magnified effect, reach. We don't have any worry about accuracy, so it's just free AoE. And for this one I have Devastate, so it stuns whenever you use Bone Shatter, and then it will break their armor on that stun, and it will also explode. So one thing that's kind of a bummer is we don't currently have this Aftershock thing, and I think it makes a bit of a difference with this Aftershock, but I'm not sure, so we're gonna keep testing that out too. But a bit of a bummer there. It might make this AoE a little bit less, but it's okay. It still pops really nicely. Infernal Cry. We have this one empowering the next attack. We have this one costing life instead of mana, because this thing will cost like all my mana if I use it. We have it granting me rage, which is fine because I can use this like while I'm fighting stuff in maps, and it gives me more rage. And then I have it on Ingenuity, so I can use it a little bit more frequently. I kind of like that. Seismic Cry. We have it dazing the enemy to make them more vulnerable to stun build up. Have it costing a little bit less. We have it consuming the rage to do more damage. So usually it's going to be like I stun the boss, and the way that I use it, I probably should do this. I usually like this to kind of build up rage, but I mean this is fine, right? Usually how it works is I will Seismic, it'll explode the spikes, then I'll Seismic again. But if I want to do it differently, we could just double tag Seismic, or I could do this. I like this better because I use it in maps to get rage. But anyway. This will make the next attack hit harder, but if I do this, then I also get the Bone Shatter harder, whatever. Either one, whichever one you have the rage in, use this first, probably, to make sure you have enough rage to consume for whatever one that you're not. So in this combo right here, I would double Seismic into Infernal and then drop the hammer. It's also having a chance to not even consume my empowerment, so I can keep the Aftershocks for more attacks, like it'll make the Earth Shatter's Aftershock afterwards. So Scavenge Plating, we're using this to get even more armor, we're giving it more duration, and buffing its level. Overwhelming Presence, we are using this to overwhelm them and make them more scared of us and take more stun, basically. We're reducing their stun threshold with this one. We are getting 2% life on kill, and we are getting 30% recovery from life flasks, and we are getting a little bit of mana regen, which is nice. So the combo is basically, in maps, just running around, Leap Slam, and then Bone Shattering them, Leap Slam, Bone Shattering, Leap Slam, Bone Shatter. And then if there's a strong enemy, like a rare that survives, give him a few of those, all right? Give him a few of them Earth Shatters. That'll get him sorted out. Against a boss, you're stacking up Earth Shatters while they're doing their RP, then you detonate them, boom, they get stunned, boom, hit them with another one, Infernal Cry, and then drop the hammer. But what we're doing now is we actually have a whole nother hammer weapon set. So I found this hammer. This guy is kind of interesting. It doesn't do like the most damage ever. It's not the most insane weapon ever. Like the suffixes are not very good. But it just hits hard and it's good enough. So I could use that with my old hammer to actually give me, look at it, corrupted chaos damage. So funny. This corrupted another socket, so that's juicy. So what we can actually do is swap into this and just drop the hammer with these two weapons, which is pretty cool. But like I said, you should, like, it was a long stream yesterday, but it was crazy. We found a really, really good spear and sold it to somebody on stream for 12 divine. So shout out to that dude. Mr. OG. Hope it's working well for you. And this is what we turned the proceeds of that sale into, was this Big Daddy. So it gives me big fizz, big added fizz. The added fire is okay. Attack speed for me personally is mandatory. Look how much stun buildup it has. It has like 80% stun buildup from the weapon itself, and then it gives me stun duration, which means that we're going to be able to do more damage during that stun time, and I am more likely to be able to just whack them one time to get that rupture activated to aggravate the bleed. A couple other things that actually have changed in my gear is we have gotten new gloves that have a little bit more armor, a little bit less attack speed, but they give me strength and chaos res, which is nice. With the teeny bit of life, these gloves are definitely, you know, upgradable, but they're not too bad. Armor being 80% just walking around is really juicy. I corrupted my own belt, which gave me a little bit less strength, but more fire resistance, which is kind of cool. Helps those resistances kind of be comfy, which means I could probably move lightning resist off of these gloves. Like what I could do is I could do like the chaos res one here, and then I could do an armor one on my shield, which is also new. For boots, we got 35% movement speed on them with life and strength and lightning res, which is all chill. I'm too scared to corrupt them right now, but I probably could. Get another socket on them would be sweet. And I got a new shield. So the shield grants me good block chance, nice armor, but it actually gives me max life instead of thorns. And then the big stuff is, I don't have strength on it right now, but it does give me 8% additional physical damage reduction, along with fire and lightning resistance, just to kind of keep everything cozy. Obviously, like on all armor, big life, big strength would be amazing. Big life, big strength, big armor would be amazing on everything. Those are the only things that have really changed, but I can show you very quickly what I have elsewhere, right? I don't think I'll be able to update mobalytics for this immediately, but I will try to do it today, because this is kind of a cool setup. And then my weapons, again, are just big flat, and then I have a little bit of attack speed on this one. We're just trying to get these weapons to just hit hard with Hammer of the Gods. That's basically what we're looking at right now. But I unfortunately cannot show gameplay this video. We will definitely be blasting this build. I mean, we streamed for like 9 hours yesterday. I was just having so much fun. We need to hit level 95 today. And then we have farmed up some Crisis Fragments to go fight Arbiter. So we're going to do some testing with the build, because I haven't really tested it yet. I know that its damage is going to be okay, but again, I may want to switch out some of the defense for offense, especially against Arbiter, because your defense doesn't matter against Arbiter. He's either going to kill you or not. So just doing more damage against him is probably the better play. I probably don't need this thing right here. I probably don't need the aggravate, which means I can probably move some points somewhere else. I mean, I could maybe even just put it in damage against bleeding enemies. There's got to be a more elegant solution, a more elegant place to put like a point or two, right? So we're gonna get like 2 points, basically, right? I have like kind of like a dangling point in both specs, and then we can get 1 more point here. So you can do stuff with 3 points. So we will figure that out if we need to. But all in all, I'm very excited for this setup. The gear has improved primarily through here. My rings and stuff are just life and strength, basically with a little bit of resist. Helmet is pretty good. Life, strength, resists, armor. That's kind of what I want on all my stuff right now. And this, my necklace is literally just a stat stick, but it's a good one. It's a good stat stick. And then my rings are like definitely room for improvement. Everything can be improved by adding life, strength, and armor, basically. The shield is cool, the fact that we got physical damage reduction, and we got more armor on my boots, so that's why our armor is looking juicy right now. But anyway, we gotta run. I'm very excited to be able to share this version of the build with you. The gear upgrades were juicy yesterday. It allowed us to shift a lot of our talents down, move some damage skills into utility and defense. It allowed us to set up the actual full-on weapon swap into Hammer of the Gods Giga damage setup. These weapons are worse than my main weapon, but since you're using 2 of them, if the weapons were the same, I would be doing 40% more damage. So the fact that weapons are a little bit worse maybe still makes me do 20% more damage on Hammer of the Gods, which is still a big buff. The concerns I have for the build are, have I subtracted too much damage? And is there a more efficient, elegant way to spend my skill points with these kind of like hanging ones, right? And if that's the case, we will find that out later, and we will take on Arbiter and keep on smashing Endgame. I got a jet for now, though, boys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to show the video some love. I'll update the mobalytics profile for this one, and I will see you guys tonight on stream. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.